me talking to some sources, and this has also come out with other people as well, that like the coaching staff in Pittsburgh very much prefers Justin Fields over Russell Wilson. And so I think the expectation is the Steelers are going to keep one of their quarterbacks from last year. And I think it is, unless, from what I understand, the coaching staff, and this doesn't necessarily include Mike Tomlin, but from the rest of the coaching staff really wants Justin Fields over Russell Wilson in terms of who they keep next year. I don't know about Tomlin, but that seems to be all the indications are, is that, and it makes sense, by the way. He's the younger player.
I'm very glad they caught up with that and finally realized that. Because every time they played the Ravens last year, I'm like minus 13.5 Ravens, because you just know what you're getting. So,
but I have heard that there have been conversations. I don't know if it's directly between Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson or their camps, but there has been some conversations about, hey, should we try to figure this out, let bygones be bygones, and we had more success together than either of us had separately. Should we try to run it back in Las Vegas?
Yeah, well, one team that perhaps is less likely a destination now for Justin Fields, this is another Maddie newsbreaker item from the column, but the Athletic's Zach Rosenblatt believes it would not be shocking at all if Tyrod Taylor starts for your Jets in 2025. Connor, what do you think about that?
Wouldn't be shocked, but if Fields isn't extended in the next couple of days and gets to talk to teams at that window Monday, the Jets will be one of them. So that's something to keep an eye on. I don't know if he prefers to go back to Pittsburgh. I don't know if there's still that relationship with Garrett Wilson when they were really good together at Ohio State. But he will have his market isn't like, hey, go back to the Steelers.
Yep. It also seems like Aaron Glenn, from everything at the Combine, like he doesn't view this as a rebuild. He views that they have a lot of talent.
And he wants to run the ball. Yeah. And he believes that running the ball with a mobile quarterback, and I know he comes from Detroit where they didn't do that, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't think that.
Yep.
So
they got plenty of running backs to do it.
They got the running backs to do it, and obviously Tyrod can move a little bit, but Fields brings a different dimension. Once again, I think the Steelers are the favorite, like you've hinted at. But if he's not signed before, I think the Jets would at least have a conversation.
I have not heard these connected, but is there a scenario where Darnold goes back to the Jets?
He wouldn't do it. I don't think so. I think
that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Because the ownership, just total redemption arc. It's a new team. It's a new owner. It's a better franchise. It's a better coaching staff. You know what I mean?
Better offensive line.
Better offensive line.
The biggest problem.
And you're sort of like it really would be like kind of the ultimate redemption arc, right? That if he came back and ultimately became what he was drafted to be.
Right. As bad as it ended for Darnold, he's the best quarterback on the market.
Yeah,
I think.
Correct.
And
with upside too.
Yeah, I think he would probably give the Jets the best chance to win this year. Yeah. People might debate Fields' upside, but I think it's Darnold.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue with those numbers that he put up.
He went 14-3.
Yeah.
But you just think Darnold would be against it? Just too many
ghosts.
Got
swallowed up by New York, and it's like, hey, second game you throw 3 picks, the Boo Birds come out.
Yeah,
what have I done?
Right.
Like what have I done?
We know we shouldn't have done it off of one game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's why it hasn't been mentioned. I put this out in the column, and again, the only thing I had in the column that I feel good about was I heard the same thing that Zach did. I don't know if we have the same source, but I heard this is what I put in the column, and I think I mentioned it on our show, is that I heard that Tyrod Taylor, if the season started today, the starting quarterback of the Jets would be Tyrod Taylor. That's the current working plan.
Right.
And that they're going to get somebody to develop. So that's the only thing that I've heard. This is just now me, Matty only, saying, if I'm the Jets, I would trade down if I could and then draft Jalen Milroe to develop behind Tyrod Taylor.
You can get him on day too. Yeah.
Right, because I think I watch a lot of Alabama football because of my kid, Roll Tide. And Jalen Milroe, and I've said this on this show, does 3 things a game that drive you up a wall that you cannot believe they are so mind-bogglingly dumb. But everything else, you're like, that kid is awesome.
Right.
The physical skills are off the chart. He works his ass off. He's fearless. He's a Nick Saban coach kid who, and we'll talk about some of the other interviews that quarterbacks had, but every person I talked to that interviewed Jalen Milroe came away like, this kid gets it.
Yep.
He completely professional, somebody who does not think he's a finished product, understands the flaws in his games, wants to work hard, isn't sitting there demanding anything, is going to be an asset to whatever. An NFL team needs to be patient with him. He's definitely not a finished product, but this is somebody that could be, I truly believe this. In 3 years, we'd be talking about Jalen Milroe the way we talk about some of these elite quarterbacks, as a top 7 fantasy quarterback, right? I mean, Guy had 20 rushing touchdowns in college, right? I mean, like, and made some great throws as well. He just also there's some pocket feel stuff where you're just like, But I think that would be very interesting for the Jets.
Me too.
1 year of Tyrod Taylor and develop Jalen Milroe in with a coaching staff that has some leash, right? That isn't on a 1 year hook that's going to have to start him too quickly.
The problem for the Jets in that scenario is they still need another veteran because you can't be one Tyrod Taylor injury away from Milroe having to play as a rookie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but there's guys like I mean, there's Gardner Minshew, right? Gardner Minshew, you get a guy like that. That's fine. Milroe can be your 3.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That would be the plan. Yep.
Right.
I like how Gardner Minshew's become the definitive, there's a guy, you get a guy. He did go 9-8 with the Colts and was one throw to Tyler Goodson away from winning the division.
One thing he know how to do is beat them Ravens. No matter what team he on, he know how to beat them Ravens on the road.
Honestly, that's what the Steelers should do. The Steelers should hire him. Hey, we're going to bring in Gardner Minshew. 2 games a year. Just 2 games a year. We're bringing you for literally 2 games a year.
They're going to get Justin Fields and Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, you chill this game versus the Ravens.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.